Okay, so let's talk about a word you've probably heard a million times: Bitcoin. You see the crazy headlines, right? People becoming millionaires overnight, wild market swings. It's a lot. But what does any of that actually mean for you? Well, that's what we're going to figure out. This is it. This is the big question, isn't it? It's the one everyone wants to know. You hear all these stories about people making absolute fortunes, and you can't help but think, hey, should I be getting a piece of that action? It sounds like a simple question, but believe me, the answer is anything but.
The honest truth is there's no simple yes or no for Bitcoin. It can be an amazing tool for growth, for sure, but it can also be a fast track to losing a lot of money. It really all comes down to you, what your goals are, what your game plan is, and maybe most importantly, how much risk you're actually comfortable with. So let's break down both sides of that coin. All right, first up, let's talk about the dream. The exciting part. What is it that pulls so many people into the world of Bitcoin? In a word, returns. We're talking about the powerful, almost magnetic promise of life-changing money. Look at this number, 200%. Now, to put that into perspective, a really good year in the traditional stock market might get you, what, 10%? Now, obviously, not everyone is seeing these kinds of massive gains, but it's that potential for explosive, world-changing growth that makes Bitcoin so compelling. For some people, it feels less like an investment and more like a winning lottery ticket. But hey, the appeal actually goes way beyond just the money. For one, Bitcoin is highly liquid. That just means you can buy it or sell it for cash pretty quickly, much easier than, say, a house. But here's the really big one. It's decentralized. That means there's no single person, no bank, no government in charge. And for a lot of people, that idea represents a whole new level of financial freedom. Okay, so we've seen the dream. Now it's time for a little dose of reality. Because with that kind of massive potential reward comes equally massive risk. And you absolutely have to understand that risk before you even think about putting a single dollar in. This is so important to get. The exact same force that can shoot the price up to the moon is the one that can make it come crashing right back down. The potential for huge returns and the risk of huge losses, they're literally two sides of the very same coin. You just don't get one without the other. So what are we actually talking about here? What are these risks? Well, first off, high volatility. Its price can jump or drop 20%, sometimes even more, in a single day. Then there's market manipulation. You have these investors called whales who hold enormous amounts of Bitcoin, and they can literally push the price around. And finally, security. While the Bitcoin network itself is pretty secure, the exchanges where you buy and sell it are huge targets for hackers. And if they get hacked, your investment could just disappear.
So, knowing all this, the incredible highs, and the very real, very scary lows, how do people actually do this? It's not just about buying some and crossing your fingers. There aren't actual strategies that investors use to navigate this crazy landscape. You generally see three main approaches. First, you've got the long-term holders. In the crypto world, you'll hear them talk about hodling. These are the true believers. They're betting on the future, and they try their best to ignore all the daily chaos. Then you've got the short-term traders. They're the ones trying to use all that volatility to make a quick profit. And finally, you have diversification. This is probably the most cautious approach, treating Bitcoin like a small, spicy ingredient in a big, balanced investment meal.
We've covered the what, we've covered the how, but now we're at the most important part of this whole conversation: you. This is your personal checklist to help you figure out if this whole crypto thing is a world you actually want to be in. And honestly, the whole decision really boils down to this one idea: risk tolerance. And look, this isn't about being tough or being a daredevil. It's about being brutally honest with yourself. It's about knowing exactly how much money you could watch vanish, like poof, gone, without it wrecking your life or your future. Everything else is built on that foundation. So before you do anything else, you need to ask yourself these three things. One, seriously, what is my risk tolerance? If I put this money in and it goes to zero, will I be okay? Two, am I ready to do my homework? This market changes constantly. Are you prepared to keep up with it? And three, is the rest of my money diversified? For most people, the smartest move is to make sure Bitcoin is just a small piece of the pie, not the whole thing. And that brings us right back to where we started. We asked, is Bitcoin a good investment? But by now, you probably see that's kind of the wrong question. The real question, the only one that actually matters, is this: is it a good investment for you, for your life, for your goals, and for your stomach for risk? And that, well, that's an answer only you can find.